Now, this is one of them times where I'm going to have to say that the real time situation definitely overshined the actual reality show itself. I mean, completely overshined it. Let's wrap this thing on up. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is going to be my wrap up. This is episode 5 and 6 of SWV and Escape, the Queens of R&B. Yeah, it's time to wrap this on up with a nice little bow on it and let this be. I doubt very seriously that there will be any type of a second season to this. It's over. It's over. But the thing is, the show itself, not a bad show, but somewhere in here, SWV got lost in the show. This was more about Escape, and then the stuff going on in real time with Escape's members just completely overshined the show. It was like the show was there to boost the argument between Tasha and Tamika, basically. And SWV, well, they just were there. I mean, they just kind of literally got lost in this thing. But anyway, all that being said, let's get episode 5. We're going to just roll this through. Episode 5. Tasha basically did not show up for the sound check. I'm sorry, she did actually show up for the sound check in Miami. Tamika and Tasha are still, the struggle still going on. You can see very clearly that Tamika is clearly hurt and it is genuine. Tasha, nothing genuine about it. Nothing genuine about it. And the more I watch, the more I see that Tasha feels like she's winning and she's cool with it. She, when you watch a fight where one person is really wanting to squash the beef and the other one is really not interested in squashing the beef, it's so you can see right through it. You can see right through it. And that's where they're at. Tamika wants her sister. She believes and feels all those things she said about wanting her sister and hating that is going on. Tasha good with where they at, because I feel like Tasha feels like the confusion of it all justifies the nasty, snaky moves that she's making to ease from up underneath the group. That's just the way I see it. Moving on. SWV has the whole little thing. They feel like the show should be ending with the song Weak. And, of course, Escape feels like they should be ending with Understanding. That's both of their big songs, okay? I don't know. We went through this literally for like 2 episodes, and I wrote in my notes, why not just end a song where they just cover somebody else's song together at the end? And then nobody feels slighted, because you all could say y'all are sisters with voices. Escape is the girl group that, that where everybody can sing. So why not just cover someone else's song, some classic song that you all both like, and then there's no argument. I wrote it in my notes, and I'm like, nobody thought of that. Listen, I don't know. It just, that argument got very old for me very quickly. Anyway, it's this whole thing where SWV were really feeling, because they said it, they said Tiny and Candy have like their ass for us to kiss, and we're not doing it. And in some ways, yes. In some ways, yes. I mean, again, you really can't deny the social media presence of Tiny and Candy, but you also can't deny the sales and the presence of SWV. So it's like a no-win. It really is like a no-win. Anyway, moving on. We had this whole little piece where Tiny basically said Candy warned us about all of this as pertains to Tasha. She, when we agreed to do any of this and coming back together and all of this, we were saying, I hope she doesn't like use us and then give us her ass to kiss. Candy somewhere down the line had that conversation with Tiny, and here it is coming to fruition. And I said, oops. And they keep saying that. You just keep hearing them talk about this repeat of what had happened before. I don't know how they're actually dealing with it. I'm telling you, I could not with Miss Tasha. I couldn't. I could not do this with her. It's crazy. It is crazy. Even to see all the stuff that they got all mixed up with that husband and that, there's no way. There's just no way. Anyway, we still seeing with Lily and her sister. Lily throwing little shots. She's talking about the wardrobe for, we're going to go do like fittings and they're trying to get together wardrobe and stuff. And she's like, girl, it's like the outfits for for Apollonia 6. I said, Apollonia 6, really? I said, okay. All right. And Lily, again, pushing forward, saying, they feel like they're better than us. They feel like they're better than us. I don't know that they feel they're better than you all. They definitely feel they're a bit more relevant than you all. And a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that y'all are in Atlanta. They're from Atlanta and y'all aren't. So that's probably helping with that feeling as well. You're basically in their home city with all of this going on. So, yeah, I mean, you can't deny it. It was going on. Some of it was going on. Also, we got to see that nice sister. It's so crazy because you're seeing this really good sisterly bond between Lily and her sister, where we're seeing this turmoil between Tamika and Natasha. We found out that Lily's sister was really her, I think we knew that though, was her primary babysitter when she was on the road and stuff. So it's kind of crazy to be looking at the two different sister dynamics. It's kind of sad. It really is. Candy, Coco, and Steven sat down to do this whole song list, the set list. And of course, they bumped heads again all throughout it, and then especially on this last song thing. And it was so funny because Coco was doing what Coco does, Coco being Coco. And Candy said, see, why can't she just be like this all the time? All of this, like she gonna try to get along, that's some bull crap. This little nasty, difficult thing that she's doing, this condescending thing. And yes, Coco, you were being condescending. She's like, girl, that's the real her. Later on, you saw Coco saying, honey, I saw her in an interview. She's in an interview with Andy Cohen on What Happens Next. And she was like, Candy doesn't know me to say that that's the real me. She don't know me. I said, girl, there you go. Candy ain't lie. That little you were being condescending. Oh, that's tired. Oh, that's child. Girl, it didn't matter what they said. You were against it. And I just felt like Coco didn't want to do this. I felt like Coco just went along with her group to do these things. Coco didn't feel like she needed them, and she had none of their ass to kiss. Like that was, Coco was in full diva mode. She's in full diva mode. And in some instances, I couldn't blame her. In others, I was like, come on, Coco, let up a little bit. It was what it was. Speaking of Coco and her little boy, Jalen, they basically, we went through a few episodes of it, but they finally guilted Jalen to go on back to school for Dennis. Even after the show wrapped, we seen him on Andy Cohen's show, and he's still salty as hell about that whole Dennis thing. Listen, I wish you the best, baby. Sing when you can, clean teeth as you must, and just do your thing. I don't have no more to say about it. Anyway, speaking of the clothing, Corey Boy, that whole fitting, this was one of those times when I was like, okay, y'all pushed it. Y'all pushed it. Listen, y'all's aesthetics are totally different. So why y'all took them to your clothing designer made no sense. You knew they weren't going to be really happy because y'all's design and y'all's aesthetics are totally different. They're totally different. They're like homegirls, and y'all are like Atlanta hot girl stripper wear. That y'all aesthetics are different. Corey Boy is totally stripper, and there's no read to it. They figure something out, but for me, I didn't think that SWV looked good in their things that they wore. It looked like it wasn't really, they looked like they settled for some things instead of actually getting what they really wanted. And of course, Escape looked like Escape. So I'm like, well, that's on y'all though. You can't be mad at Escape about that because listen, you got a rush order. Y'all are a big group. You're screaming about how many songs you done released and how much money you done made and how many copies you sold. You mean to tell me you don't have no designer on speed dial that could do a speed job for you? Then that's not on Escape. That's on you. There are tons of designers in Atlanta. Open up your Instagram. Period. And I ain't got no more to say about that. That I'm not going to blame on Escape. That's on y'all. Moving on. Coco and Tamika. They had a little talk and figured out like everything, like it just ain't that serious. It's like it just ain't that serious. This stuff that's going on is not that serious. They talked about the whole thing with Tiny and the accommodations. This was just regular girl group, girl performer stuff on the road. Child, they done read Tiny about Tiny told she need to have a piano in the room. Listen, Tiny's rich. Tiny's rich. That's T.I.'s wife. Whatever. Child, y'all making a mountain out of a molehill. Who gives a shit? She rich. She got 11 houses. Okay, whatever. I was like, we're just making up stuff for a reality show at this point. Then again, we visit the followers versus record sales thing. I'm like, it's getting old. And again, I wrote in my notes at this point, why don't they just do a song at the end that they all like that ain't neither one of their songs? And they could just do it and it be done. And people will remember it. They really would, because I'm telling you, that would stick out for me. I would remember it. Moving on. Last thing in this episode, on episode 5 that we got, there was they had sat down for this meeting. It was the whole group, the whole Escape group, and Tasha. Maybe they hit her with these receipts. I said, girl, they keep hitting you with receipts, Miss Shit. Hitting you with receipts. Girl, there's this promoter, and there's all the text messages happening between the promoter and Rocky about him getting kickback for a few dates. I said, Lord have mercy. I said, this is crazy. And the text messages, it was clear that Tasha knew what was going on, and Tasha was going to get the girls on board. This, that, thing. Like that, Rocky and Tasha have been playing in their face, really playing in their face. Tasha sits down and said, "So y'all believe this?" I said, "Oh, she is really playing in y'all's face." Oh my God, I couldn't do her. This is where episode 5 cut out. Let's go on into episode 6, child. I cannot. They continue right where they left off. She gonna call Rocky on the phone. Damn, Nat, what are we calling him for? What are we calling him for? Because again, he's your mouthpiece. You can't do nothing without him. You're meeting with your group. He ain't part of the group. Y'all keep asking, who is the 5th member of Escape? Rocky. He's the 5th member of the group. And now you see he's even getting paid like the 5th member. They even said, okay, It's not that some of these things haven't happened before, but we all were aware of it. The whole issue was that they weren't aware of it. So it made it look even more shady. Then Rocky's up in these confessionals and he's talking, basically like he don't owe them no explanation for nothing. And well, that's how he talked on the phone. Like he didn't owe him an explanation for nothing, and the hell with him. But in these confessionals that he keeps doing, he's sitting around trying to make it make sense and talking like he deserves these kickbacks. You only deserve them if we allow you to have them. You making money off our back and we don't know about it. Looks like you stealing from us, bro. That look like you stealing from us. It's okay if we say you can make money off our back, but if we ain't say you can make money off our back, who are you? Who are you? And all of it is making Latasha look crazy. Making her look crazy. Because she's trying to make them think they're crazy. But we're looking at you, Tasha. No, you crazy. You are crazy. And he literally all but snapped on Tasha while he was on that phone with them. I said, better y'all to me. Anyway, they go to Ontario to do this little show they had to do. Rocky and Tasha are riding together. And they're talking about Tamika. And the whole way they're filming and they're talking. And here it is, they're pushing this narrative forward again about Tamika being a liar. All the stuff she did to Candy and all of this, she's a liar. She's known to be a liar, this, that, thing, and the other. But what we keep on sliding by is that, yes, she lied. Yes, she did all this scandalous shit. But she did it for your benefit. Miss Tasha, Miss Gospel, Miss Clear Soul with the white chiffon dress. She did all of the sideways shit that she did, trying to make you look squeaky clean. And now you throwing it in her face. How rich. That's a mess. That is a mess. Anyway, and Rocky, you need to stay up out of them confessionals because you always come up looking bad. Bad. You need to stay out of the confessionals. You're really not a real likable character. And then you really ain't got nothing that you're saying. Everything you're saying is coming up making you look worse and worse and worse because there really is no other way for you to look other than worse. You out of order, man. You ain't to be trusted. You sideways, and you got your wife all wrapped up, and she's simple. So you need to just lay low. Whitney told y'all, honey, you better lay low. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. The more you talk, the worse you look. Anyway, Tasha shows up at their show late. And then she's got a whole entourage with her. It was a whole mess. I was like, oh, God. So just weird. It's weird. Like, what is all this? Whole entourage really playing it up and not really worried about it. Not worried about it. They go. Next thing we know, we see this whole rehearsal that they're doing. Here she is with this entourage. This is the rehearsal for the big show with SWV and XSCAPE. And there's like these last minute preps, and SWV is like getting real tense. And they're looking at how, and this is again, two groups that do things differently. XSCAPE's people just be like, look, damn this bull crap. Let's get to it. Let's cut the bullshit. Let's roll. Let's get this. Y'all got to get this right. And this is how they talk to them. SWV is like, nobody talking to me like that. Like, we are stars. So right there is where they actually differ. Their people don't play with them. They don't play with them. They're very upfront. They're very much, y'all know better than this. Y'all know y'all can do this better. Come on, give it to me full out. Don't play with me. That's how they work with them. And y'all are used to people pampering y'all. Again, y'all are different. So that's all I took that as. SWV was like, ain't nobody gonna be talking to us like that's pushing us around. Well, somebody needed to, because y'all was putzing around and playing around, and y'all really didn't have time. And the more they were going through this show and the show, the less I wanted to. I'm glad I had no concert ticket, because the less I wanted to see the show. I'm like, this just don't, I don't know. This just don't feel like it's coming together. But okay. Coco gets over there. She didn't gotten her feelings. She's talking about, I ain't got my meds. I'm wanting to fight. I'm like, okay, now you getting on my nerves, Coco. I don't like stuff like that. I don't like stuff like that. I'm from so-and-so. Those type of things trigger me. Like, for real. Like, when you're online and stuff, I'll be ignoring it. I'll be like, oh, I'm from Pittsburgh. Who cares? But in real life, when you be talking stuff like that, like, I'm ready to fight somebody. Oh, yeah, I'm from so-and-so. What is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? Ain't everybody from somewhere? See, being online, typing that stuff is one thing. Being in person, saying stuff like that, tends to get people bopped. Because what is you saying? Who do you think you are to sit around talking about you ready to fight? You think you're the only one ready to fight? You think you're the only one frustrated? You don't think someone else is sharing that same energy that you have in a whole room full of people? Coco, stop it. Because then what do you do if somebody else is ready to fight and they come over there and slap your face? Then you got a whole mess on your hands. So I don't like stuff like that. Stuff like that is triggering. It's ridiculous. And it's very immature. Very immature. Then it just, it kept going. It kept going. It kept going. Next thing you know, Taj ends up snapping out on Don Juan. Don Juan's just being Don Juan. Don Juan talks real straight. Him and Candy are like brother and sister. He talks straight up to Candy. And that's how he talks, period. That's, if you watch his channel, if you've ever watched Real Housewives of Don Juan says what Don Juan wants to say, period. Period. And he was saying that something was going on. He's like, that's corny. Honey, Taj was like, no, you won't, honey. Because again, when from Taj's eyes, Don Juan is like the hired help. And that's how that came across. And I like Taj, but that's how it came out. Like, you felt like Don Juan was the hired help, and how dare he? How dare he? That's Don Juan. That's what he does. That's his job. His job is to speak very candidly to Candy and whoever else. That's why he is who he is in her company and in her life, because he's going to give it to her raw. So, again, just different ways of handling, and you get to see everybody's little coinky dinks about who they think they are star power wise. Is it right? Is it wrong? It is what it is. Moving on. The day of the show. Child, things still looking a mess, okay? I'm still looking at it from here like, child, I don't want to go to that concert. I really was. So I don't want to go to this concert. This concert looked like, I don't know. So here comes Tasha with her entourage. She's separate than everybody else. She ain't around them. They ain't seen her. This, that, thing, and the other. And Candy's like, girl, nobody. When I tell you I was laughing at Candy in that confessional, Candy was like, girl, nobody cares. Nobody cares, Tasha. I was like, oh, Candy. And then Tamika had me cracking up. She's like, I don't even know why Rocky is here. Like, who even needs to be bothered with him? She called that Edward Stillinghands. Baby, when I tell you, I said, Tamika, you just won for the funniest bit on all the confessionals all the way through the whole show. She called that Edward Stillinghands. Yes, God, honey. And he is. Oh, still an ass bastard. Okay, all right. Moving on. So the two groups never even, from what we saw, they didn't even see each other before the show. They just start the show, and then they start taking the stage, and here they go. And for me, that's what the show, all of the clips that we saw from the show, it looked just like what it was. It looked so disjointed. It just looked disjointed. It just looked like it didn't look like they were doing a concert together. It looked like they did a concert and they both just happened to be there, is what it looked like. This could have been so much better for me. And no, I need no ticket for this. And then Tasha, her whole thing, she was completely disjointed from the group. So she just happened to be there as well. She was giving very Cindy Bird song. And the thing is, watch what you asked for, Tasha, because that's what you asked for. When the group was like hugging each other, there was the three of them were in an embrace, and Tasha was on the side, like trying to get into, and then she making comments like, I done lost the sisterhood and blah, blah. Listen, watch what you asked for. You just might get it. And we watched it all play out. And this was all you're doing. It really was all you're doing. It really, really was. Then, all throughout these last couple episodes, they were talking about this, the little gospel song. Coco was having a fit about it because she said, we don't sing no gospel on our set, but some kind of way they ended up talking them into it. And SWV was like, okay, cool, we'll come down and sing. Coco said she wasn't going to do it. And when I tell you Coco stood on stage and she did not, how do you stand on stage and not, that was just ignorant. It was ignorant. It didn't look good. They flashed that camera by. I said, oh, bravo, y'all so shady. She's standing there, honey, and the girls was giving that, is my living in vain, honey, and Coco was giving, honey. How do you do that? Even when you're at your worst, and they call upon the Lord, it seems to subside some things because he brings us together. That's just how it works. Coco, I don't know about you, sis, because you sat right there, honey, and I mean, everybody said, no, of course not, but you stood over there, honey. She was looking up in the air like they was singing, honey, finally it's happened to me. Like you ain't give a damn about what they was saying. I said, Coco, you giving me demon tease. She's giving me demon tease. I said, Miss Coco, crown no now. Sometimes you just got to let it go. Damn. But I was like, whatever. Anyway, like I said, I felt like the concert was disjointed. And again, I've only seen clips. They showed us clips. I don't know. Seems a little disjointed to me. Anyway, after the show, Tasha and Tamika try to have this sit down. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's more what I said. Tasha feels like she won. As far as the whole argument, the whole show, I've actually let you know I don't give a shit. And you running behind me like you supposed to. Because that's how their household was. And the girl ain't lied. We done seen it in 6 episodes. That girl ain't lied. That's how y'all's household was. Y'all did her however y'all wanted to do her, and she run behind y'all for y'all's approval, you and your mama. And that's what you showed. And you felt as though you won, like, girl, I'm just showing the world now. This is what we give. You bow down and you kiss the ring, honey. And that's what I saw. It's sad, but that's what I saw. Child, Tamika, you do yourself a favor, give them a good old nasty piece of letting alone. Anyway, then they kind of, like I said, we lost SWV in this whole thing. And I swear, SWV don't want to work with Escape. I doubt it very seriously. But they kind of closed it up with SWV's records are still moving upwards on the charts, and their sales are still going up. They showed them getting some things. I think Week went triple platinum, and that was their last little showing on the show. I said, oh, girl, it's giving here in your face, Escape, honey. Yes, you have the media presence, but we have the numbers, honey. I said, oh, okay. But other than that, in the show, we lost them. We lost them somewhere in there, honey. We lost them. This was the Escape show. But I don't know. It was, listen, entertaining. heartbreaking, all the things that you need for a decent reality show. Do I want to see more of it? Nah. It because it got actually too personal at one point. It just got too personal. It really did. It was just kind of heartbreaking. But anyway, it is what it is. That's it. That's all. I ain't got no more about this. I'm kind of glad it's over. It's cool. Let's move on to the next thing. Candy will come up with another show. SWV gonna keep doing what they doing. Escape gonna keep doing what they doing. I listened to that live. Candy told Candy, said, "Oh yes, well we're gonna keep the Escape name alive, and if she ever decides to come back, Candy, if you don't stop it." Anyway, I said, "What? If she decide to come back, what you gonna do, Candy? What you gonna do? Tell the truth. What you gonna do? This is what the conversation gonna look like. She try to come back with Miss Candy.